Have you ever wondered how much of world history was decided not in conference rooms, but by the weapon placed in an ordinary soldier's hands? Long before drones, satellites, or cyber warfare, three rifles quietly shaped battlefields, governments, and even global power itself. They didn't just fire bullets, they spread ideas, fear, and influence across continents. The AK-47, the M16, and the G3 were born decades apart in different nations under different philosophies, yet together they rewrote the rules of modern warfare. What makes these rifles different from thousands of others that faded into obscurity? It isn't just how they shoot, it's who could use them, where they could survive, and how cheaply they could spread. From suffocating jungles to frozen mountain passes, these weapons became symbols of strength, rebellion, and control. Wherever global tensions flared, one of these rifles was usually close behind. Each rifle reflects the mindset of the nation that created it. One prioritized absolute reliability above all else. Another chased accuracy, innovation, and lighter weight. The third focused on power and disciplined precision. These were not accidents, they were deliberate responses to fear, failure, and the brutal lessons of earlier wars. To understand their influence, you have to look beyond metal and mechanics. These rifles shaped alliances during the Cold War, armed revolutions, and changed how armies trained their soldiers. They determined whether a poorly equipped force could challenge a superpower, or whether technology could compensate for harsh environments and human error. In many ways, these rifles didn't just follow history, they forced history to adapt. As we break down each weapon, we'll explore why they were created, how they performed when lives depended on them, and why they're still found in conflicts today. More importantly, we'll uncover the uncomfortable truth behind their legacy. Once a weapon becomes simple enough, cheap enough, and reliable enough, it stops belonging to any one nation. And that raises a disturbing question. If weapons designed over half a century ago still dominate modern conflict, what does that say about how much warfare has truly evolved? Because the story of these rifles doesn't begin on the battlefield. It begins with fear, frustration, and wounded soldiers desperate for something that wouldn't fail them. What if the most dangerous weapon in history wasn't the most accurate or advanced, but simply the hardest to break? That idea gave birth to the AK-47. Its story begins not in a laboratory, but in a hospital bed. Mikhail Kalashnikov, a wounded Soviet soldier during World War II, listened as fellow troops complained about jammed rifles and unreliable equipment. Those conversations planted a powerful idea. A weapon doesn't need to be perfect, it needs to work, every time. Kalashnikov set out to design a rifle that could survive neglect, dirt, snow, heat, and poorly trained hands. The result was the Automat Kalashnikova 1947. Instead of chasing precision engineering, it embraced loose tolerances and mechanical forgiveness. Borrowing proven ideas from earlier American and German designs, the AK combined durability, automatic fire, and manageable recoil into one brutally effective tool. Chambered in 7.62 by 39 millimeters, the AK delivered heavy-hitting rounds capable of penetrating cover while remaining controllable in combat. It wasn't the most accurate rifle at long distances, but that didn't matter. In real-world combat, reliability outweighed precision. Soldiers could bury it in mud, clean it poorly, and still expect it to fire. During the Cold War, the Soviet Union turned the AK into more than a weapon. It became a political instrument. Mass production and simple manufacturing allowed millions to be distributed across allied nations and revolutionary movements. Suddenly, small groups could challenge powerful armies. The rifle became a symbol of resistance, rebellion, and raw staying power. This widespread availability had unintended consequences. Because the AK was cheap and easy to copy, it spread far beyond military use. Guerrilla fighters, militias, and criminal organizations all embraced it. The very features that made it ideal for soldiers also made it nearly impossible to control once released into the world. Even today, decades after its creation, the AK-47 remains one of the most recognizable and widely used firearms ever produced. Estimates suggest tens of millions are still in circulation, many functioning as reliably as the day they were made. But while the AK conquered the world through simplicity, another nation believed technology and precision could do the job better, and that belief would soon be tested in the jungles of Vietnam. Can advanced technology truly outperform raw reliability when lives are on the line? That question haunted the United States as it faced a new kind of war in Vietnam. American forces needed a rifle lighter than the M14, capable of higher rates of fire and easier for soldiers to carry through harsh terrain. The answer was the M16. Unlike the AK, the M16 represented a shift in philosophy. Built with lightweight aluminum and polymer components, it was designed for speed, accuracy, and efficiency. Firing the smaller 5.56 by 45 mm cartridge, soldiers could carry more ammunition with less fatigue. On paper, it was a superior weapon. But war rarely respects paper designs. Early versions of the M16 suffered from reliability problems caused by ammunition changes, lack of proper training, and maintenance misunderstandings. In the unforgiving environment of Vietnam, these issues became deadly. Trust was shaken, and the rifle's reputation suffered. Over time, improvements were made. The M16A1 introduced a forward assist and refinements that addressed earlier failures. Once corrected, the rifle proved highly accurate with manageable recoil and effective range. Its design influenced nearly every modern Western military rifle that followed. The M16 wasn't just a weapon, it marked a transition toward lighter, faster, and more modular firearms. It showed that modern armies valued precision and adaptability just as much as brute strength. Despite its troubled beginning, it became a long-serving symbol of American military doctrine. Even today, variants of the M16 platform remain in service worldwide. Its legacy isn't perfection, it's evolution. It demonstrated that innovation can succeed, but only when reality is respected. Yet between the simplicity of the AK and the innovation of the M16 stood a third rifle, one built not for rebels or experimentation, but for disciplined power. What if a rifle wasn't meant for arming the masses, but to enforce authority? The G3 emerged from post-World War II Europe, shaped by engineers determined to rebuild military credibility through precision and strength. Developed through German engineering roots and later produced by Heckler & Koch, the G3 was chambered in the powerful 7.62 by 51 mm NATO cartridge. Unlike the AK and M16, the G3 was a full-powered battle rifle. Its roller-delayed blowback system delivered accuracy and range that exceeded most assault rifles of its era. Effective well beyond 500 meters, it was designed for trained soldiers, structured armies, and controlled engagement. The G3 became widely adopted by NATO-aligned nations and law enforcement agencies. It wasn't cheap, light, or forgiving, but it was dependable and intimidating. This rifle reflected a philosophy of control. Fewer rounds fired, greater impact per shot. While it never spread as widely as the AK or became as iconic as the M16, the G3 earned respect through consistency. It served for decades across Europe, the Middle East, and beyond, often in the hands of professional forces rather than irregular fighters. But when cost, performance, and availability collide, which rifle truly shapes the world? The strongest, the smartest, or the most common? Why are weapons designed over half a century ago still shaping modern conflict? The answer lies in balance. The AK-47 offered reliability and accessibility. The M16 delivered accuracy and innovation. The G3 provided power and authority. Together, they defined what militaries expected from a service rifle. All three remain in use today, improved but fundamentally unchanged. Their designs proved so effective that modern weapons still borrow from their principles. Durability, controllability, and mass production remain the foundation of infantry arms. Their true legacy isn't just technical, it's psychological. These rifles changed how wars are fought, who can fight them, and how long conflicts can last. Once released into the world, their influence became impossible to contain. And perhaps that's the most unsettling truth of all. The tools that reshaped the 20th century are still shaping the 21st. Progress didn't replace them, it learned from them. If history keeps repeating itself through the same weapons, maybe the real question isn't about rifles, but about us.